Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another YouTube video. My name is Chris, and welcome back to my podcast. And as you guys can see, I have my first guest. This is my friend Jesus, known him for a while. But yeah, I thought I'd have him on. You know, we're talking NBA today, and you know, we're both excited. My first guest as well, so I'm looking forward to talking and getting a good debate going. I don't know how long this pod is going to be. It might be over an hour long. I don't know. It just depends how much we talk for. But yeah, I don't really want to go over too long, just be yapping. But yeah, I'm excited and welcome. How you feel? You ready?
I'm feeling good. I got my notes, my chicken scratches on here, and we got a list of questions that look like are actually gonna be really fun. So I'm excited.
All right,
should be a good time.
Do you want to like plug yourself or anything like that?
As of February 29th, 2024. I got nothing to plug. No sponsors.
All right.
It's just going to be watch the video.
Perfect.
It's going to be a good video.
Sounds
watch
good.
All of his videos.
Yeah, for sure. If you guys are new here and you do enjoy the content, drop a like and consider subscribing. If you do enjoy the content, it's completely free, but you don't have to do it if you don't want to. Now, with that being said, let's just get right into it. So, as I said, we're talking NBA, talking basketball, talking hoops. We got a lot of good topics for you guys, a lot of good questions. We did our research beforehand, so just going to jump right into it. So the first question I got for you, I'll let you answer first, and then I'll go ahead and answer, is, are the Phoenix Suns a legitimate title contender?
Yeah.
Really?
I'd say so, yeah.
Why?
I feel like there are a couple things when you look at title contenders. There's, like, first question is, what's the top-end talent? That's the people who are always, like, everyone's looking at them. They're getting the most pressure. They're garnering the attention from the coaches, the personnel, and everything like that. And I think they have it. I'm a big fan of Booker. I like to think Booker's like the main guy, but it's KD half the time. So the luxury you can have just to switch both of them, right? And you have that top end talent that's just easily number one. So I consider them a contender, especially in the West that seems to be super wide open, especially at least with the top 5 seeds, right? And as of today, it's Minnesota, OKC, Denver, Clippers, Phoenix, and then everybody else. And then number 2, I would say that after they picked up Eric Gordon, which is I really like, they have decent role players.
Yeah, they do.
Realistically, you're only playing 8 guys at max sometimes, maybe 9 if you're the Clippers or whoever else, And I like the guys. Obviously, Book, Bradley Beal, your third guy, KD. You can stagger any 3 of them, right? And they're usually a plus, like in the plus minus when all 3 of them have played, right? And then you have like a guy like Royce O'Neal, Eric Gordon, Grayson Allen, a little smaller than you would like from contenders, right? Especially in the West, which is usually a larger conference just by size. But then they also have like a Eubanks that could realistically spare Nurkic when he has to not play his 35 plus minutes.
Yeah.
So I think they're real contenders. They're, especially when everybody's healthy, when they're running their like Book, Beal, KD, Royce, Nurk, and I'm assuming a Grayson Allen. When they're running those 5, they're almost always in the positives, especially against teams that are above 500. So that's what I would say. I think they're true contenders.
I'm gonna say no, and this might shock a lot of people, but I don't think they are because of two key things. One, they're inconsistent. If you look at their schedule, the last 10, 15 games, they've lost to teams like they shouldn't lose to. The Warriors, they're a good team, but lost to the Warriors, lost to the Lakers. I think they lost to the Wizards. Like, they're not beating the teams that they should be beating. And then my second reason being Bradley Beal. His health this season has been a whirlwind. Like, in the offseason, when they acquired him, it was big 3. We're like, oh my God, like, this team is a team to beat, even though the Nuggets just won the championship, right? It's like, this team is insane. Even though they traded away everyone and they lost, it was a 3-team trade, wasn't it?
Yes.
And they lost their center. What's that guy's name?
They sent Ayton to Portland.
There we go.
Chris Paul went to the Wizards, right?
And then he got bought out.
And then he got bought out.
Yeah.
No, he got traded to Golden State.
Yeah. So I expected them to be like a 60-win team, but right now they're sitting at the 5 seed. Of course, the West is a lot closer right now, but I just don't think they're as consistent as they should be. Of course, Devin Booker, KD, Bradley Beal when healthy, Uric, and then you said Eric Gordon. He's been a good pickup. I think he's averaging like 12.5 points per game. And then Grayson Allen, surprisingly, he's the 4th leading scorer on that team. You know, people don't give him enough credit, but I don't want to say I'm not even going to say it, but he's a pretty decent defender. Like, he's got size on him. And I feel like he kind of...
It feels like he gets burned a lot, but he's good.
Yeah, but he's a... I don't want to say big body, but it feels kind of like he's a big body, but not really. But yeah, they have... I don't want to say they have depth, but when you have KD, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal, you don't need too much depth, especially going into the playoffs. Because we saw the Heat last year, you know, they had depth, but they were playing like the same like 6-7 guys like the entire game. And going into the playoffs, that's what you need. So I'm gonna go off a limb and just say no, honestly, unless Bradley Beal stays healthy, then they can be. But as I'm looking at it right now, I'm gonna say no. So.
Yeah, I think like what you were saying about when you have those 3 guys, it's like you're staggering. You're at least having 2 of them on the court at all times.
Right.
I mean, well, we'll see. I mean, knock on wood, but we're gonna see if Beal's gonna be there, right? And he had a lot of back stuff that was nerve-wracking. Usually, if it's like a back with a guard, it's just the lift is gonna be weird. His ability to take contact and like put people in jail when he's like in the middle is gonna be weird as well. That's a lot of Bradley Beal. So, I mean, I still think that they're like contenders, right? They have been inconsistent, but at the same time, this league is very much like we're gonna like push in waves, right? So we'll see in the next like 25 games, right? If they're gonna be healthy and everything. But in any event, I just even on like as a Nuggets fan, I still don't like the idea of seeing a Booker, seeing a KD, and then just having guys hopefully hit their threes, right? And you said who was it? Grayson Allen? I didn't realize this, but he's I think top 10 in percentage on threes.
I think he's top. I'm not gonna lie. I think he's top 3.
He's above 42%.
Yeah,
that's just reciting it.
Yeah.
Don't quote me. I know he's above 42.
Yeah, yeah. I was looking at it because I was like, why are we having for the NBA All Star? I was like, who are these? Why are these people in the NBA All Star? You know what? We should have the top 10 guys in there. And Grayson Allen was one of the guys. And I was like, damn, what? Like, I had no idea. But going back to your point of like the big 3, like, I think it's tough. Like, you need depth in the playoffs. But if you have a big 3 as good as those guys are, you can. As crappy as it sounds, you can ISO, you take your shot, I take a 30-second break, then I go back on defense, then it's my turn, then you take a break, and you run the pick and roll, and you try and you drive, you kick and shoot, you run down screens, but you do that to give your other stars breaks and stuff, as long as the rotation is fine. So
yep. And just speaking on like a whole like vibes perspective, I'm gonna say that a lot. These aren't like inherently selfish guys.
No,
right?
No.
I mean, I know like people like hate on Booker, right? He's easy to do that, but they're willing passers. This isn't like you're not having Michael never swing the rock Porter Jr. This isn't like a person who's looking for their numbers, looking to get that like stat pad for their contracts or whatever. Like KD's always been a system guy. You've seen it in the Warriors, right? And Book has been their de facto point guard kind of thing, and he's over 6 assists. So it feels good to say that they're willing to like spread the love, especially around those 3 to make it work. It's just a matter of, can these boys just get on the court together from like just a stretch of like 10 games, go 6-4, or like don't go 5-5, that'd be bad, but like go 6-4, 7-3, flex your muscle just to see what Phoenix Suns basketball looks like when everybody's there. Because I know, like, we all know what's like going to be Denver Nuggets basketball. We know what Dallas Mavericks basketball or Lakers, Golden State. A lot of them have like varying levels of like what you're going to do, at least in the majority of the games until crunch time. It's basically going to be what you said, like, here you go, do your thing. Give me 2 minutes. I need a break. And then It's my turn. I'm Bradley Beal. Set a down screen. Everybody's spread pick and roll or Spain pick and roll, so you can get Grayson Allen open or Royce open. So I just want to see that, but I still believe in them. I still think they are, regardless.
So speaking of KD, he hasn't won a ring, or he hasn't in his career. He's only won a ring with Curry, right?
Yes.
Now he has this big three. Not him, but the team in Brooklyn dealt with a lot of injuries. How much pressure, if there is any, is there on KD to win a chip without Steph Curry?
Right. Hold on. Let me ask you this real quick. Is this a yes or a no, or can I give it like a A, B, C, or like one out of 10? Because I have a number.
You could rate it 1 out of 10, like 10 being the most pressure, 1 being the least.
I think I'm gonna say 7.
That's a good number.
Around like a C plus, if I'm putting that.
That's what I agree.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think personally?
Because maybe I would go with like a 6, maybe like a 5.5, 6. So, like we said, in Brooklyn, there were all those injuries. They had that big three that literally would have been the biggest what if in NBA history. Literally. You had a Harden, Kyrie, KD, but they dealt with so many injuries. But that first year, when they played the Bucks in the second round, they were a toe away from going to the NBA Finals, or from going to the Western Conference Finals, or Eastern, excuse me, and then going and winning the chip and beating Phoenix. In my opinion, I think they would have
smoked them.
I think they would have blown them out, right?
Yeah.
So KD is a toe and a foot away from winning that chip, I think. But again, it's a big what if. But the reason I think there's pressure is because since Curry, he's gone second round exit, first round exit, second round exit, and he has yet to be back to a conference finals. So I think there's definitely pressure, because I think people hold him to the standard of like you either have the opinion of he's one of the greatest and most efficient scorers of all time because he can get to any shot, and you can either think he's top 15 or you think he's overrated and he only won because he's with Curry. So that's why I put him in like he's got pressure, but if you know hoops, he's one of the most efficient scorers of all time. Like he
hands down.
Yeah, he's there. So, but your pressure, you said 7. Why?
I feel like I said 7. Me writing down quote verbatim, not too much pressure, but that I changed my answer midway thinking about it. I only said 7-ish, like C plus. I feel like is a good way to put it down.
Yeah,
was just because you look at the roster, right? And I feel like there's favorable matchups going to in the West, right? That I feel like they could smoke out, right? So I feel like a bad matchup for them would realistically be, or a good matchup, timeout, would be Minnesota, right?
but they would have to fall.
They would have to drop, right? I mean, unless Minnesota drops to like a second round matchup, like or whatever, we would have to see how that plays out. But teams like a Minnesota, or if they play the Pelicans in the first round, which is a possibility, those are good matchups, right? And then after the second round and up, it's just a dogfight, obviously. So you're expected to perform, especially when you consider yourself that top dog. He's leading the team in shot attempts, right? And Booker's leading the team in assists. You have enough, I feel like, around you to do that, right? And just lastly, to temper it down a little bit, the reason that's how I feel about him having that pressure, but to temper it down, I just think there's other players that have a lot more going on for that. But that's later on. So
speaking of other players, other than KD, well, no, we can include KD. Give me your top 3 players right now that are under the most pressure to win an NBA championship.
Okay. All right.
Say your 3, I'll say my 3, and then we'll go into discussion.
Okay. This is going to be a 20-minute conversation. All right. Number 1, I'm going to sound like a hater. It's Jason Tatum. Hands down, above it. It's time. He's not 19 no more. I'm going to stop making these jokes. Second, I would say Embiid.
Okay.
But that's he got injured, and I'll explain my reasoning why I'll keep him at B. Spoilers, if you're on the court, you're playing, you're on there regardless, right? And then third, I would say I wrote down some Clippers, just for the mere fact that they look great. As soon as Harden became their engine, or as he said, I am the system. As soon as he's the system, the offense has just skyrocketed, right? They've looked so well coerced, right? They have a better offensive engine, I would say, rather than Kawhi Leonard. Obviously, Kawhi's the best player. You're giving him the ball, right, for the last shot.
So pick one Clipper then.
Oh, James Harden.
Okay. My 3, 1, Joel Embiid. Can't make it out. He just can't win outside the. He went to 1 Eastern Conference Finals when they played the Hawks.
No.
Oh, he's never been to Eastern Conference Finals?
No.
They went to the second round and they lost to the Hawks. They were up 3-2 and they blew that lead. Hashtag Doc Rivers, baby. Anyways, second one, Kawhi Leonard. And my third one is KD. So we both have Embiid, right?
Okay.
So let's talk about Embiid first. So I pretty much said my opinion. It's nothing crazy. You know, people have there's a lot of Embiid haters out there. This guy being one of them.
Hold on. I tempered it down. This year he sold me.
But yeah, I definitely think, you know, he's definitely, you know, a top 2-3 big in the NBA. And he's this year, like you said, you know, before he got injured, he was having an historic season in terms of points per game. But yeah, you trust the process, you know, back in 2012, 2013, and then they draft Ben Simmons or whatever it was. And then now he's just never been to the Eastern Conference Finals. He's been in the league, 7 years? Right?
Yeah,
So,
I think he was drafted in.
yeah, and not to go off to like another sport, but like in the NFL, if you, for example, Dak Prescott, if you haven't been to a conference championship in so many years, you know, you kind of are under that pressure. So that's what I'll say about Embiid.
I mean, it's the same thing. I feel like I'm a real stickler in terms of like you show up, you're expected to be there. Like there's no excuse for me to show up to my job and like, oh, I didn't make my numbers. I had a bum ankle. I can't do that.
Yeah.
And especially when you're at that level for the NBA, there's been a lot of excuses of, especially when NBA fans are hating, oh, your player's there. He showed up regardless. And like once you play, you're expected to have that pressure on you, right? You're expected to perform, right? It would be unfair to your team to say, oh, I'm playing right now. I looked great in game 1, game 2. Let's take James Harden. I don't think he was hurt that series, but I'm just going to take James Harden. Let's say he was hurt.
You're talking
Games
about the Celtics series?
Yeah.
Okay.
Games 1 and 2, he looked great.
He scored like
right?
what, 41?
Yeah. He was going crazy.
Yeah.
And then later on down the series, let's say he got hurt. I wouldn't expect him to, it would look bad on him to say, I got hurt right through mid-series. You know, I think Jason Tatum said that in the finals against Curry when Curry hung 40 or 50 on them like in the next 2 games, right? 5 and 6. So when Joel Embiid, especially this last series, when he had something wrong with his face or something like that, I think he got elbowed by Siakam. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I just have a big expectation when you're on the court, you're playing, you need to perform regardless. So hopefully this season, I mean, he's come back from the meniscus tear, I believe. Hopefully he comes back and hopefully he makes me eat my words because he's literally a top 5 guy. No question.
Yeah.
So,
For sure.
but I'm going to switch it a little bit.
Okay.
Why did you say Kawhi?
So, if you guys don't know, I'm a Clippers fan. So, just because of the last 4 years, you know, of course, that Toronto run was insane in 2019, right? But he beat a Warriors team that had KD that, you know, towards Achilles, and then Clay towards MCL or whatever it was, right? So, aside from that, you know, when he won his first ring against San Antonio and he was Finals MVP, even though LeBron still hung 30 on him, like, people really argue like he shouldn't have been Finals MVP, and I'm not going to argue that. I mean, I'm not. So I think there's pressure on him because he pulled the trigger to get Paul George, and he wanted to go to LA, but he didn't want to go to play with Bron.
No.
First year, they go to the second round, blow the 3-1 lead against the Nuggets.
Yeah.
Next year, we I forget what happened. I'm gonna be honest. I think we went to the second round again. No, that's when we went to the Western Conference Finals. But Kawhi Leonard got hurt.
You beat the Jazz and Paul George mounted that
exactly.
But insane 3-game stretch.
Kawhi hurt his knee in the Dallas series in the first round.
Yeah.
So he was out the second round and in the Western Conference Finals where we lost to Phoenix 4-2. Then the season after that, he was still recovering from his MCL. Didn't play. Clippers missed the playoffs. They played the play-in and lost both games. Then I think that was, and then last season, Kawhi's hurt again. Or no, Paul George was hurt, didn't play in the playoffs. Kawhi gets hurt game 2 after we, beat the Suns and go up 1-0. And then that's it. I mean, that's all you got to show. You got to show a second round 3-1 lead blown. That's all he's got to show for it, And then to tack onto that, you have, the load management and everything that's been going on. But this season, he's been playing a ton of games. So he's kind of shut that down. So I think, I don't want to say there's a ton of pressure, but personally, I think there's pressure on him because he just hasn't done anything aside from blowing the 3-1 lead and then not playing for a season and a half, missing the playoffs, and then getting hurt last season. So, yeah, that's my reasoning for Kawhi. And then who was your other guy?
I said, we both said Embiid. I said Jason Tatum.
I agree with that. I can agree with that.
I think my gripe especially this season, I feel like he has the most pressure, period.
Really?
Yeah. But we'll get back to that because we were on the Clippers. I said James Harden. This is kind of along the reasoning of Jason Tatum, right? A and B. Jason, when James Harden got traded to the Clippers, I was so happy, specifically for the Clippers.
I was.
Merely for the... Well, yeah. I mean, I remember that vividly.
Yeah.
But when he got traded to the Clippers, I just knew that he was the facilitator that they needed, right? Because there was a lot of moments in time in the playoffs, right, where they led the whole NBA in shots around 16 to 24 feet, right? And that's fine, right? But you just needed you needed good offensive process, and there was a lot of times where the Clippers, especially the Celtics, didn't have that, right? Because they were just relying on Kawhi, save us, give us a 14-footer, right? And that's good, but you can get easier baskets in involving other people. James Harden led the league in assists, I believe.
He did.
Yeah. And this is such a great player to have, right? And obviously he needed some changing of his role so the ball doesn't stick, so it's just not ISO ball, step back, 3 foul. And he looked like he bought in. Ty Lue's not a coach to mess around with that. No. He's a player's coach.
Yeah.
So he knows how to get to these guys. He knows how to motivate these 30-year-olds, these veterans, to kind of play together and play for something, So when it happened, I was super ecstatic. They looked great after they stunk it up for 6 games or something like that. They look like the best 5 teams in the league. They never dropped under than that. That's why he says he has the most pressure, right? Especially just to knock off the whole choker or the points where he would score easily, and then the other game his facilitation would be down, right? Assists and turnovers would be about the same, and his efficiency would go down, especially from 3. This is more so for Jason Tatum because unlike James Harden is not necessarily in his prime, quote unquote.
Yeah, no, he's past it.
Yeah.
He's still a bucket getter, but he's definitely past it.
Jason Tatum's 25, 26. Yeah. You're
been in the league for 7 years.
You're fresh.
Yeah.
You're fresh off. You've been in the finals. How many conference finals appearances?
5 or 6?
I think 4. I think 4 or 5.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah. 2 of them against Miami.
And then they missed 1. They missed 1 Eastern Conference Finals.
That was against the Bucks.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was the Bucks and the Hawks, their championship year.
There you go. Yeah.
Get ready. You have the best starting 5, most aesthetic starting 5, the best starting 5 on paper, period. I wrote this down. You are, as of February 29th, first on offensive rating. You are second in defensive rating as of February 29th, 2024. And you are 6'8", above 215 pounds, 7-foot wingspan. You are a physical specimen that you need to attack. And you're getting guarded by either small forwards who you're bigger than, or power forwards that obviously some teams don't have those 3 new wings like an OG, Terrence Mann, Kawhi, whatever. You're getting guarded by some of these power forwards who you're faster than, right? And there's been enough of those times in the playoffs where you stunk it up and had Jaylen Brown. There was conversations in the finals like Jaylen Brown's looking like he's delivering when Jason Tatum's getting locked up by Wiggins. So that's the reason why he's on top of it for everybody. You have the tools. You had enough mulligans. You've been to a finals. You've been to 4 conference finals. And you have the physical tools. All you need to figure out, I feel like, is your offensive process. I hate the fact that he takes so many pull-up threes, right? And just mix it up to the point where you can at least score in those droughts that the Celtics are really known for, you know? You don't see that as much with the Clippers anymore.
Yeah.
Let me get off my pedestal.
And then the third one I had said was KD, but I already gave my reasons for that, so I'm not going to get into it. And then, did you already go through all your three? Yeah, we talked about Embiid, and then we talked about Jason Tatum, and then James Harden.
Yeah. Those are my 3. Honorable mention, Damian Lillard, but they kind of... The Celtics are... Celtics.
I was gonna put him.
Bucks.
I was gonna put him there too, but now I don't think he's under a lot of pressure just because Doc is their head coach.
Yeah, I think that knocks you down a couple.
Yeah. So it does for sure. So next question we have here is which 7 through 10 seed can do the most damage in the playoffs? So we'll start with the East or the West first. Excuse me. Then we'll go to the East. So I'm gonna give you mine. Right. So right now the standings for the West are Mavs at 7, Kings at 8, Lakers at 9, Warriors at 10. This might surprise people. I'm going to go Lakers.
Oh.
I think the Lakers, even though, they're barely above 500 and all that stuff, LeBron just did what he did to my Clippers last night. But again, no Paul George, no Zubac, blew a 21-point lead. That's that. It's all right. It's all good. But honestly, you can't really count out Braun. I mean, that year when they, I think I don't know. It was like a year or two ago. Maybe it was last year when they went to the second round and ended up losing. But you just can't count out Braun. I mean, I think he can do the most damage. I want to say Dallas, but I don't know. I need to see more from them, honestly. But yeah, that's my West pick. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet.
This is the most amount of love that Chris has ever given to LeBron James. Like paragraph, period. So you said
Lakers.
the Lakers.
Yeah.
Okay.
And almost went with the Mavs.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the Mavs, I picked the Mavs. Spoilers. The reason why you said you can't count out LeBron, my glorious king. One of my European kings, right? My Slovenian sensation, Luka Doncic. He scares me. He literally gets off of shit talking. And pardon my French, but he is a terrifying individual. And this is no merit, no numbers. This is just him as a playoff performer. But if we're going to get into the nitty gritty of it, this is the best Dallas team that we see in him playing. On paper, technically, it's the team with Jalen Brunson and Kristaps, which is crazy to think about in hindsight.
Yeah.
But in any event, I think this is the best team that he's played with, right? He has a really solid number 2 option, right, in Kyrie Irving, who's bought in, and then you have other guys that I love the Daniel Gafford trade, a PJ Washington, which is $16 million, right?
Cheap.
And I think he's very affordable. I think he's a free agent this year, so I'd have to check if he may leave, but he's such a great pickup, like at the forward spot. Derek Lively has been playing really well, right? He's been playing great defense at an NBA level, which was just always worrisome about like NBA centers. And then you have just other role players. 6th Man of the Year candidate Tim Hardaway Jr. You have a Josh Green. You have a Maxi Kleba. And then
they got a good team.
Yeah, and what they have also is variety, right? Because I feel like a lot of the playoffs, right? That's why when we get into contenders and pretenders, right? Outside of the 2 teams that I have listed, when you get to the playoffs, a lot of it is what problems can you cause for the team and what problems can you solve.
Yeah.
Right now, the Mavs didn't have that period for a couple of years. This year they have that, right? If you want to play big, you can throw Kyrie, Luka, assuming Kyrie and Luka are on the court, or one of them is at the court at all times. Let's just say, for example, Kyrie, Luka, PJ Washington, Kleba, Lively, or Gafford, right? If you want to space out, right, and just get Luka mid-range, right, at the free throw line extended post-ups, Kyrie, a Josh Green, a Kleba, a Luka, and then a Tim Hardaway, right?
Mm-hmm.
They just have variety. That's why I like them so much as the team that can make noise. I think that they might get out of the play-in, but I mean,
Yeah.
we don't know.
Yeah.
So that's why. That's my reasoning for that.
Yeah. And who you got for the East? Say your team. I'll say my team, and then we'll go in.
I will lie. It's slim pickings of the East.
So for the audience, right now, this is February 29th. For the East, we got the Pacers, the Magic, the Bulls, and the Hawks. Okay? So go ahead. Say your team. I'll say my team.
Yeah, I'm not picking the Bulls. Okay, we're doing. It's the Pacers.
Really?
I think it's the Pacers.
Okay. I'm going to go with the Orlando Magic.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to go with the Magic. So,
Hold on. Hometown love. Go ahead. Let me hear it.
Yeah, so honestly, if they're healthy, I love their big men. I'm not going to lie. And I think, let's say, I'm kind of getting goosebumps right now. Oh my God. Let's say the Bucks fall. They're currently the 3 seed, I think. Let's say they fall to the 4. No, let's say they stay the 3, but maybe they climb their way back up to the 2, and the Magic end up getting the 7 seed because they win their playing game. I think that matchup-wise would be great.
Timeout. Cleveland right now is second.
Yeah.
I think that's a good matchup for them.
Really?
Maybe not. Timeout. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Because I think, you throw Mo, you throw Franz at him, and then you got Paulo who can create his own shot. Cole Anthony, he's been okay. Hasn't been doing too much. And then you got Jalen Suggs. I don't know. I feel like their big men would kind of really match up well, against guarding, I won't say Chris Middleton, but I feel like that length would really help, especially against Giannis, So I think that's a team. Obviously, I don't think they would get out of the first round if they played the Bucks, but matchup wise, I would like to see that because I think the Magic would have a good time. Not a good time. I think they would do a good job of making adjustments and taking that series to 6 games and really showing the NBA and the NBA media the Magic are here to stay. Kind of if they can get over the hump and Paulo takes that next step to a second team All NBA sort of thing or third team NBA. Right now he's not there, but he's definitely a bucket getter. Who's your team?
I want to add to that real quick. That they're playing with house money.
Yeah.
They have no pressure.
Yeah, none.
They have a puncher's chance of knocking out or at least extending the series to 5, 6, 7. They're definitely not getting swept.
Mm-hmm.
And just guys just Jalen Suggs, literally, they're NBA tryhards. They are the kind of guys who can win you a series because they just try their butts off, right? And also at points in time, if I'm being honest, there are times where they can lose a series because there are players like a Jalen Suggs where they have a bad fault, right? I'm worried about his shooting. Let's take Jared Vanderbilt, for example. You love his hustle, but everyone's trying their butts off in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So we'll see about that.
Before you get into it, one guy I forgot that I left out, Jonathan Isaac.
The minister of defense.
Dude, you have Jonathan Isaac, Franz, Mo, Paulo's tall,
6'10",
you got those guys, guarding Giannis, plug in the middle, and Chris Middleton, who is big, that's a good matchup. I mean, Jonathan Isaac just got injured again, sadly. I think it was another knee injury. I don't know.
It was a knee sprain, but it was day to day.
Okay, but hopefully he's healthy. But I think, they would do a really good job matching up against the Bucks. So yeah, and then go ahead.
Yeah.
Say yours.
My team, I said the Pacers.
Right.
Here's the thing. I was a big I made this an apparent point of offensive variance, solving problems in the in the playoffs, and just having variety. This man, Tyrese Halliburton, is a wizard, an offensive wizard. A lot of their points obviously come in I know, almost knocked my water bottle down. A lot of their offense comes in transition. They're top 10 in pace almost always, and they're always top 5 in offense, right? But the addition of Siakam as a bona fide number 2, and just a person who can get downhill other than Tyrese, right? Or a Benedict Mathurin, just I feel raises their ceiling a lot more, right? Because let me stick on Tyrese real quick. This guy is obviously just an assist wizard. He solves a lot of problems.
His birthday's today.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Tyrese Halliburton. 29.
I know,
birthday, February
4.
29th. Yeah. He's turning 5.
He's 5. Yeah, 5 years
today.
old. And just the way that he can carve up defenses, right? Because every defense is going to give a little bit of something.
Mm-hmm.
They swept the Bucks, season series Bucks. It's the regular season, but I don't just take that into account, right? Other guys that they have, a Miles Turner to spread out the floor. You have a Benedict Mathurin. You know, they just traded a Buddy Hield, but I feel like they're decently deep enough and have good positional size all around, right? Like even like an Obi Toppin and Aaron Nesmith too. Celtic
I got no idea who that is.
Celtic legend. No, so they have enough shooting. They just have enough offensive variance, I feel like, that can push teams out. Do I think that they're smoking the Celtics or the Bucks? Definitely not the Celtics.
Nope.
Right? But it's just going to be fun to see them, right? I'm excited to see what they'll do as Halliburton's first playoff series. Pascal's won a ring, right? So you have that veteran experience, right? He's been there. And I just want to see Siakam and Halliburton pick and roll against like everybody else. So it's going to be fun.
So we're in agreement that the West can do more damage
Oh, 100%.
than these. Okay. Because, I think Lakers, furthest they can go a second round. And then you think Mavs, what about them? Furthest second round? Or if they're clicking Western Conference Finals?
I think Western Conference Finals max. But that's if they get like OKC.
Yeah, okay. And then East, Magic, I don't even think they're making it out the first round unless Giannis gets murdered or something. I probably shouldn't say that.
I was like, wait.
And then Pacers. They could steal a game or two, but
We're talking about noise. We're not betting our lives on the wins here.
Exactly. So piggybacking off of that, what matchups are you most looking forward to? We'll take one from the East and one from the West.
Okay.
You can go. You do your East first. We'll start with East
Thank
this
you.
time.
And this is another vibes series. I'm so excited. And hold on. This involves our beloved Knicks. Your favorite.
Hey, I like the Knicks.
I know. But context. When the Knicks traded for OG, I was like, they're complete. But when they got Alec Burks back, right? A good backup guard, and then they got Bogdanovich for pennies on the dollar. I just became a full-blown fan. I want them to play the Heat so bad. And they are listed as a 4-5 matchup.
That'd be a good matchup.
Yeah. Stephen A. Smith is in heaven.
Miami, he gets to go to South Beach, and he gets to go stay in New York. Oh my God!
Oh my goodness!
That'd be heaven for him.
What?
You're not wrong.
Just in terms of revenue, that's literally marketing everything.
Nah, for sure.
But Heat Clippers, Heat Knicks.
Yeah.
Spoilers. That's just a lot of basketball. That's so 2000s, 90s. Muck it up. You're gonna see scores in the 80s, right? Halftime is gonna be like 41 to like 45. It's gonna be so much fun. You have guys like you have a lot of like bigger names too, especially like you see a Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, who's made all NBA teams. You know what Jimmy Butler is going to do in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then the fact that they both upgraded their rosters with quality players, right? You see what Bam Adebayo is doing and leading a lot of his advanced statistics. You just picked up Terry Rozier, right? You're getting a Tyler Hero back. Jaime Jaquez Jr., he looks great as a rookie. He looks so poised, right, and in control.
And Jimmy Neutron.
And Duncan Robinson. I was like, who? Right? He's been on the up and up.
Yeah.
And then also just like I said, even with the Knicks too, you're gonna get players who just are gritty, who can run an offense, right? Who's actually better equipped than any Tom Thibodeau team that he's had in a while, just to not stall out on offense, right? OG, you get a Alec Burks,
Josh Hart.
Josh Hart is a really good player, and then even like a DiVincenzo who's also leading the league in 3-point percentage too.
National champion.
There you go. And same thing with Bogdanovich. That's just going to be such a fun series. Don't ask me who's going to win, but I can't wait to see it.
I could see that going 7, honestly. And I think that's a really good matchup. Like, especially media wise, I think everyone would be talking about it. The two coaches going head to head too. Spose, king of matchups or making adjustments. I think he'd do a really good job there. My series, if you guys couldn't already tell, Bucks Magic. I want that matchup.
That's gonna be
I don't think it's gonna happen, but I want that matchup for the reasons I had already stated. Not to sound like a broken record, but I want to see all those bigs on Giannis and Chris Middleton, and just see how they go from there. But in terms of the West, this might be a shocker to you. No, it's not the Clippers, but for the West, I got the Thunder versus the Lakers.
Ooh,
I think that'd be a really good matchup. The Thunder have size. They don't have like big AD frame, but they got size. They got Jalen Williams. They got Chet, Josh Giddey. Gordon Hayward's not. He hasn't really been playing as much.
He's more of a power forward at this point. 6'8", slower, I would say.
They got him, and then of course SGA. They're a big team, but they're not like like I said, they're not like an AD. They're not like a big team. Yeah, sure they have height, but not that much. But and then the Lakers, they have size, and I think what's his name, Darvin Ham.
Yeah, Darvin Ham sandwich. Yeah,
Darvin Ham. I don't trust him fully to make the right decisions when it comes to like adjustments and matchups, but I trust him enough, But I would love to see that, Chet against AD, Braun, D'Lo, Austin Reeves. I mean, the Lakers, on paper they should be a 1-2 seed, but they're just not. But that would be my matchup for the West.
Yeah, I think before I say my thing, there was this one game. It was I think a Lakers home game. Don't quote me. But OKC was up in the half, right? And they, if anybody knows OKC, they're really stellar defensively, right? Still a top
against
10.
Who? Who were they playing?
This was them against the Lakers.
Okay.
There's just one game where LeBron and Anthony Davis almost had they turned on a switch. They figured it out. Mm-hmm. They started throwing zones, and you had a lot of offensive process from LeBron and AD because they've seen it almost all. LeBron has, where it looked to me like I'd be worried for the Thunder if they were to draw Lakers in the series, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think they have size. Like the Thunder, they are skinny.
Yeah.
They are I don't consider anybody a small forward. Shout out Lou Dort if you're 6'3". Congrats.
That's the guy I forgot about, Lou Dort. Sorry, go ahead.
And they have a case in Walls too, who's a good pickup too. Lottery pick. I would say they're also 41 rebounds, average 41 rebounds a game. That's the lowest contender.
Damn.
Right?
Yeah.
Out of the top 8 seeds, that's the lowest rebounding percentage. Mm-hmm. So that worries me. And the Lakers have LeBron and AD. They don't have size. They don't have like that. But my favorite matchup I want to see, I just want to see the Clippers and the Suns. Just this is again vibes. You put how many guaranteed Hall of Famers on the court together? 5?
Russell Westbrook, Kawhi, Paul George, KD.
Let's start with the Clippers and then
okay. Kawhi, Paul George, James Harden, Russell Westbrook. That's it. That's 4.
Guaranteed.
And then KD, right?
KD. I think Booker's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. Booker, I mean, I'm not going to say Bradley Beal, but D-Book, he's a good scorer.
Yeah. You're going to have at least 4 of them on the court at all times.
Yeah.
At least 4. It's going to be so much fun. They are not stopping one another. It's going to be one of those series where it's 130, 120, right? Also, I just think that they match up pretty well just in terms of size and roster construction.
We got a glimpse of it last year, too.
Yes. Before
Kawhi got hurt.
Yeah. Which is really sad. So, and just speaking of narratives and the size factor of it, you're going to get a lot of Terrence Mann on a Booker or a Beal. Paul George is going to end up guarding them over the second half, right? Because you're just going to want that. And then also you're going to see a rematch of KD and Kawhi, right? 2 very different play styles, very funny. And then just the other role players that you're going to see kind of play about, right? How is Russell Westbrook going to look, against those minutes at Yusuf Nurkic? They're going to sag off on him, right? How is he going to make them pay, right? I think he solved that answer a little bit in previous series. How are the Clippers going to look again? How are the Clippers going to play when everybody's spread out, right? They could play KD at 5. I personally hate that, but they could, right? It's an option, right? So there's a lot of offensive versatility that could happen around that. and also just similar play styles. They're going to shoot a lot of mid-range jumpers, right?
Pick and roll.
A lot
James
of pick
Harden,
and roll, a
pick
lot
and
of
roll.
spread pick and roll,
Yeah.
right? I think that is a James Harden series if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's just going to be a lot of fun. Just this pay-per-view right there.
And speaking of James Harden, you got James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and KD, all three OKC teammates on the
my
court
God.
at the same time. Yeah.
When was the last time that happened?
2012 against the Warriors? I know, against the Spurs? Because they went to the finals that year, right? Well, they blew the 3-1 lead to the Warriors.
But James Harden was on the Rockets by then.
Oh, so then the year before, when they played who'd they play? Didn't they go to the finals?
Yeah, they did.
Who'd they play?
They beat the Mavs, beat the Spurs. They beat another team. I just forget. I just know that they beat the Spurs to go to the.
Yeah, they lost in the finals, though. They lost like 3-1. Was it Miami?
Yeah, they lost in 5.
Yeah. I forget who they played, but anyways, those three back, that would definitely be fire.
I know. We're just gonna have Russell Westbrook chomping, yelling at KD for absolutely every reason imaginable.
At everyone. All right. Best storylines so far this season. I'll go first.
Mm-hmm.
So, honestly, I'm pretty shocked about how good the Thunder have been this season. I'm not gonna lie. Last season, they were like the 8 or 9 seed, and they finished the season 40-42. This year already, they already have 41 wins. They're 41-17 with 24 games left. I've been pretty shocked about them taking that next step. Of course, they got Chet back, but they've definitely taken that next step. You know, let's say they go over the next 24 games, they go 12-12. They're finishing at 59 games. They're a sub 61 team. That's if they go 500 over the next 24 games. So they could most definitely win 54, 55 games and be, 15 games above where they were last season.
It's like a top 2 seed.
Exactly. And they're the, what are they? They're the 2 seed right now. Minnesota's the 1 seed, and then the Clippers are the 3 seed, and then Denver's a 4. Or
as
vice
of right
versa.
now, it's switched.
Okay.
It's Minnesota, OKC,
Denver,
Nuggets,
Clippers
4.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely think that's a good one. And SGA is still doing his thing. Jalen Williams is doing his thing. Lou Dort, he's shooting the ball well. He's not putting up crazy numbers, but he's still a good option for them. So that's definitely my biggest. I know the question isn't like the biggest surprise, but I think it surprises me, which makes it the best storyline.
Yeah. I wrote down 3 of them, but you already touched on one. So just how good the Wolves and OKC have been, right? They've been punching teams in the mouth, and they have not gotten back up.
Yeah.
And it's really funny how they're both in the same division, I believe. So that's just going to be very funny for like seeding purposes. I would also say the Knicks takeover since they traded for OG, since they traded for Alec Burks and a Bogdanovich, but they were all hurt. So now I would say I'm gonna take that off. And then the Clippers again. I sound like a broken record.
It's cool, baby.
The resurgence. I was convinced. I was almost convinced that they looked like so bad when they were 2-8 or something like that.
We were 3-7.
That's bad.
We started 3-1, and then we lost like 6 straight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it was rough when they just seemed like a team that put it together. James Harden said, when we figure it out, it's going to be scary.
Yeah, for sure.
And they figured it out. No team really wants to find them in a first round series. So I just love those 3 storylines. I would also say, to talk about some of the teams that are not in the playoffs, just how kind of like, I love Brandon Miller personally. He reminds me of a Paul George.
Okay.
Right? Almost like before I get cooked, a Tracy McGrady, the longer, lankier guys who are just smooth with the basketball, right? Fluid, I would say, is a word I would stick to Brandon Miller.
Yeah.
And how he seems like a guy who can just really score it. Like, you want those superstar wings, right? Unless you have an anomaly like a Curry or a Luka. Well, Luka's more of a wing. Or Embiid, Jokic, so on and so forth. You want those kind of guys, right? In my personal opinion, I thought he should have went second instead of Scoot Henderson. But I think that he looks really good. Those would be my kind of top storylines right now. That's for me personally.
Okay. I want one short answer here.
Yeah.
What is your finals matchup? Got to pick.
Nuggets Celtics.
Nuggets Celtics.
I think that's
Clippers Celtics. That's
yeah. Okay, there you go.
I mean, East. Obviously, we can agree is Celtics.
If
for
it's
sure.
not?
If it's not, who would it be? You know, like who would emerge? I mean, unless Jason Tatum gets hurt or you know something happens. I mean, I don't see them losing. I mean, but then the West. My answer was going to be like Nuggets, Clippers. Those are, well, we'll get into contenders next, but that was like my, like pick your poison sort of thing. So, but just, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I mean, at least I said for the Nuggets, right? Because we've talked a lot about the Celtics, right? And the bad things. They still are, you know, they're still first in offense and second in defensive rating. So it's just a very good team. You noticed at least for the Celtics, I'm going to finish the Celtics and I'm going to get to the Nuggets, that Kristaps Porzingis has quietly become their second best player.
Yeah.
He's really unlocked something for them, right? You can do a pick and pop. The Celtics are number 1 in the league. Wait, let me rephrase that. Kristaps Porzingis is number 1 in the league in post-up efficiency.
Wow.
Again, yeah. And that's because of the mismatches that they're getting, right? And he's scoring like A's or A minuses on a lot of his percentages and shooting like around the court because of their offense that is looking so crisp, right? They still have their Lodges and Doles and everything like that. I'm worried about their depth, but that starting 5 is just so lethal, so good. And then I said the Nuggets. I'm a Nuggets fan, so I'm gonna be a little biased, but they're the team that solves the most answers. You saw that last year, right? 16-4 in the playoffs. And actually this year, they raised their defensive ceiling. When they lost Bruce Brown, everybody was kind of like freaking out. I was a little bit too. Jeff Green, not so much. He seems like a replaceable veteran. Right now, as of February 29th, they're 10th in offense, right? And 9th in defense, right? And that's because of the buy-in that you have from a Christian Brown and then a Peyton Watson, right? A lot of Nuggets fans know that he has been such an enlightenment to the team, right? You have that super athlete, that 6'8", 7'2" wingspan athlete that you can just stick on a De'Aaron Fox, right? Or a KD where you're like, just go buy us 15 minutes, right? 20 minutes. So it's going to be really fun to see what the Nuggets do. And they still have the best starting 5 in the league, best cohesion. They've been together for the longest time for starting 5s, you know. And then also they can just create the most problems for other teams. You know, that 2-man game is still deadly. And I'm excited to see what they do later.
Who's the Celtics starting 5? Yeah, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown.
They start
KP.
Derek White. And then Drew Holiday.
That's right. I forgot about Drew Holiday. I forget, like, sometimes I'm like, bro, he's still in the Bucks. Because it just seems like he was going to spend his whole career there, you know, because it was him, big money, fat money, and
Cash Money Chris.
Cash Money Chris, exactly.
Cash Money Chris.
So, you know, I thought, but no. Yeah, I think those are definitely the matchups for sure. Celtics, I mean, obviously they're quite, like, in terms of like ESPN and media, they're not talked about, bro. Like, they don't talk about them. They're 6 games above the 2nd seed right now. They have a 6-game separation against the Cavs, which is crazy to think that there's a bigger separation from the 1 to the 2 seed than there is from like the 2 seed to like the 6 seed. You know, it's just crazy that they're constantly just winning games.
It's a great cushion.
Yeah, exactly. Now we're gonna do overrated, underrated.
I could be a hater.
Okay. So first guy, Kawhi Leonard. Overrated or underrated?
I think underrated.
Underrated? I'm going to go underrated too. Why?
Look, the games played.
Yeah.
He's on the court, right? And I'm just gonna put it like this. There's no numbers I can put this up. He's having a great season. Let's just say that, right? It's just the effort that you're playing from a rejuvenated team, right? Under a Ty Lue, right?
Yeah.
And the effort, and he just knows that there's not pressure on him to go and set the table for that. You have a James Harden, you have specific players in their specific roles. So it feels better. And I just love the fact that he can just play a 2 through a 4. He can be in his own little world and just know that he still has that personnel.
For sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah, like, it's just not talked about that, like, he gave a glimpse of it in the Phoenix series last year, where he went off for like 30 points both games, and everyone was like, "Whoa, Kawhi Leonard's back!" And it's like, bro, he was never gone. Like, he was just injured. Like, what you talking about? Like, that's how he's been. That's how he always has been. But with the load management, like we talked about earlier, that is really the big thing. That was the last season, the last 4 seasons really was like he's constantly taking games off. But now, ironically, the more games he's been playing this season, the less he's been hurt. I think he's only missed like 5 or 6 games, if that. Paul George has missed, I think, anywhere from like 7 to 10. But I mean, we are 60 games in, so that's not too crazy. But I'm gonna definitely go underrated. Next one is gonna be Jason Tatum. I'll let you think about it a little bit, but I think I know where you're gonna go.
Okay.
So I didn't say it earlier. We're gonna go overrated, underrated, or properly rated. Okay.
Ooh. Okay. There you go.
Okay.
Thank you.
3, 2, 1.
Properly rated.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Because as you guys know, he thinks he's under the most pressure. So I thought you were gonna say overrated for sure.
No. Okay. Besides that one podcast that says Jason Tatum's better than a Jokic, a Doncic, Embiid. Kick rocks. So, but he's properly rated.
Yeah.
I don't think pressure does not equate to him not being overrated, underrated.
Fair.
Right? I'm just saying he has the tools. There's no excuses. Right? He's properly rated. He can score anywhere on the court. He's a great defender too.
Yeah, he is.
Right? And there's just no reason for him to be doxxed or not like given enough appreciation, right? We know what he is at this point. We just got to see if he's going to, put it out on there and deliver it at the highest level. That's really that's it.
SGA.
Wow.
SGA.
Yeah.
I
want to hear you.
Okay. I don't know what to do. I'm deciding between 2 right now.
I know my answer.
Shoot. All right, 3, 2, 1.
Properly rated. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna be a hater. I thought you were gonna go crazy.
Why would I be a hater?
I don't know. I just got angst.
I was deciding between underrated and properly rated. Because he still does his thing. He's averaging, I think, 31 a game, something like that.
He's above 30.
on really good shooting and top 10 in like mid range. So he definitely gets his spot. He definitely gets to his shot. But he doesn't get talked about enough. But he's still in the MVP conversation, or at least was earlier in the season. So that's why I was teetering between underrated and properly rated. So I'm glad I said properly rated now, hindsight. But yeah, and he has the Thunder at the 2 seed, winning a bunch of games. They flipped the script from last season, so that's why I said properly rated.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say properly rated just for the fact that he has like his game is very translatable to the playoffs, right? 6'6", right? Perfect body for like a 2 guard, and you just see him burn these these quality defenders, right? 1-on-1 almost every single night. To average 30s, you're pressing to average 30. You don't just stumble upon 30.
Yeah.
Right? You stumble upon 20 because this year has been the highest year of players averaging 30. It's above 60.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So you have players like an SGA, right? Who is just always mismatch hunting. There's nowhere on the court where you can't score, right? And he's still setting the table, right? He's still playing significant defense, right? He's not a slouch either. I think before the Nuggets started to reach 3rd seed, and if Luka can get maybe to the 4th seed or 4th or 5th seed, maybe that's your MVP race, but it feels like SGA is to lose. So I think he's getting his flowers easily.
Next one, I think it's pretty good. Tyrese Halliburton. I got my answer.
Oh boy. Okay. Go ahead.
3, 2, 1. Overrated.
Okay.
Over? You said over too?
I said overrated.
Okay. Yeah. Obviously, he's a good player, and he's having a breakout year. But let's see him do it in the playoffs, right? Let's see him win a playoff series. I'm not even talking about a game. Let's let him see it win. Let's see him win a playoff series. Then we can start talking about it because everyone's Tyrese Halliburton this, Tyrese Halliburton that. He's missing games. He's not going to get his money because he's not going to meet the threshold, and he's all NBA. Let's pump the brakes. Let's see him win a playoff series, and then we can start talking. That's where I'm at with him right now.
Very vibes. Very vibes. I just think the defensive issues you can see on a guy, not even his size, just his frame, it's prime picking for mismatch hunting.
Yeah.
Right? He's not very bulky, and I'm just worried also about the off-ball defense, right? The Pacers are not anchored. Miles Turner's on the team, but if you're being anchored by Miles Turner and everybody else is kind of like average at best defensively,
see ya.
Besides Siakam, that's not a good sign to begin with, right?
Yeah.
And you have a team like even a Cleveland, right? Cleveland, Boston, and a Milwaukee, right? A lot of teams and a lot of offensive process throughout the playoffs is mismatch hunting.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
100%.
So a lot of teams will go at their best player, right? Just because they have so much more of a load to carry on offense. Just to add on him trying to stop a Giannis or a Brook Lopez like post up, it's a little nerve wracking, right? And I don't think, in terms of just him being overrated, the numbers have gone down. He did get injured, so I just want to preface that. The numbers have gone down after the in-season tournament, and it's a little nerve-wracking. His health is also just a big issue for that. Availability is the best ability, right? That's why I'm giving Kawhi Leonard his flowers right now with the fact that he's on the floor. So there's not really a specific reason for that. It's just that there's been other players that have been outperforming him right now as of February 29th. So, and I'm worried about him defensively. Right, that seems like a part that's been overlooked by the regular season. So.
Next one, and this is the last one before we jump into contenders and pretenders.
All right.
Jalen Brunson. I've got my answer.
I got my answer.
3, 2, 1.
Underrated. Thank God.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah, I definitely think he's underrated for sure. You know, he wanted cheaper money to stay with Luka.
Oh my God.
They said, "See ya, get out of here." Nope.
Twice.
Right, twice, exactly, twice. And
4
then
years, 54.
Yeah, that's so cheap. And so then he goes to New York, wins him a playoff series, takes it to Miami, makes them go the distance almost all the way. But he's doing all this, and he's like, what, 6 foot, 6'1"?
I think 6'1".
Yeah, 6'1". He's getting to his spots. He's got bigs on it, and he's still driving on him. He's still getting his layups. And mind you, if you're 6'1" and you got a big on you, that's 7 foot. I mean, that's a whole foot difference. And then you tag on another couple inches for their wingspan. But he's still getting his shot. He's the number one option there. He's definitely the reason why the New York Knicks are so good. Like,
he's their engine.
People got to talk about him more, man. He just needs more credibility,
Yeah. I mean, I would say he's in that loosely in that MVP conversation. The fact that he is such an engine for them, right? The whole story with the 4 years, $54 million is so cool. The fact that he bet on himself, he's going at that little bit of tampering with Leon Rose being hired.
Yeah.
But we're not going to talk about that. I think just he is like one of those players where you're just going to have to pick your poison, right? He can score at all three levels.
Yeah.
He's also not a slouch defensively too, right? He's averaging over 25, efficient, right? He gets to the free throw line, right? That's translatable to the playoffs, right?
He knows how to draw those fouls.
He knows how to work, and he knows how to also work in between a Tom Thibodeau offense, right? Chicago fans know that it's very much like guys figure it out, right? So I just love the fact that he's he's that lead guard. He has the tools around him, and he makes other teams better, and he's a buy-in player that also can work defensively, right? He's obviously going to get picked on in the playoffs. Just by default, you're the smallest guy.
100%.
Right? But I think he just needs more love, right? He's definitely like a top 6 point guard.
No, yeah, he's definitely up there. And he's a lefty. All right, contenders, pretenders. Okay, we'll do contenders, pretenders. I'll give mine first. We just say our contenders, pretenders, you say yours, and then we'll jump into why. So for my contenders, I only have 3. And I said it on my first episode, only 3 contenders. Celtics, Clippers, Nuggets. Then pretenders. Actually, no, you give your contenders first.
I said the same. Celtics, Clippers, Nuggets, contenders.
Okay.
Right? We're not disagreeing on this. This is kind of funny. But just to spice it up, I think I'll get to the pretenders. That's where I'm going to get spicy.
Okay.
All right. But those three, I feel like are a cut above the rest.
Yep.
All right. Who are your pretenders?
You go first.
All right. I only had one because I was going off the fact of for the matchups.
Okay.
So that was on my end. But my pretender, don't get on me. I'm gonna say the Thunder. But hold on. I'm gonna say the Thunder, and if I'm gonna add on, I'm gonna say if I'm picking from the East, I'll say the Cavs. It's purely record wise.
Yeah.
But let me hear your pretenders real quick.
So I'm not surprised by the Thunder because that's who I'm gonna go with. Just let's let them. Let's see them win a series first before we crown them. Oh my God, they're the 2 seed. They're gonna win. You know the who was it? The Jazz for the last what was it 5-6 years? They were always the 1-2 seed, and then they would just lose in the second round every single year with Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. And sure they're great in the regular season and winning all those games, but what are you gonna do in the playoffs? And I feel the same way about the Thunder. So I'm gonna go Thunder, Wolves, and then Cavs. Cavs last year got blown by the Knicks. They got 4-1, gentlemen swept, and now they have the second best record in the East. But let's see them win a playoff series. Same thing goes with the Timberwolves. So I have the same narrative across the board.
I think finally I get to disagree with you. I feel like you're not giving the Timberwolves enough credit.
Okay.
The Wolves, here's the thing. You're answering problems, right? Their main problem right now is just how was their crunch time offense looking like? And I had here an underrated player, if I were going to give mine, Mike Conley's such a huge part of them,
Okay.
right? Just to set the table and to get Anthony Edwards off ball, right? They have enough players to kind of go around like a Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Phenomenal defender. Same thing with Jaden McDaniels,
Okay.
right? Great defender. Super long, lanky, tall, right? I think they match up better against other teams than the Thunder would. The Wolves have they lost to the Nuggets, right? They lost to the Nuggets 5. Bruce Brown famously said their hardest series was the Wolves, right? They match up for the Nuggets at least, and they can match up other ways against other contenders, right? Mm-hmm. Granted, they're lacking that quote unquote experience, but you have a vet like Mike Conley. For the Thunder, besides Gordon Hayward, you're not having that experience, right? You haven't seen anybody been there, right? And I know a lot of people are big on that experience, but since the OKC and Thunder are a very aesthetic team, you don't really see that complaint come up, right? They're I feel like they're one of the smallest teams, and you see that in their rebounding percentage. Like I said, 41 rebounds, lowest in our contenders category. And also just the Josh Giddey effect, right? You can't have 2 non-shooters on the court, right? You have Lou Dort and Josh Giddey in their starting lineup. Just nerve-wracking, right? Teams are obviously going to sag off Lou Dort, especially if Josh Giddey's on the court. But I'm not buying the fact that OKC can find ways to involve Josh Giddey in the offense, especially when, let's say, a team they could draw the Lakers first round. I'm putting you have a LeBron sag off on a Giddey, right? When he pulls up, maybe it's a 15 feet. Then LeBron's coming up to contest, but to have somebody as a weak side roamer against drives on SGA, that makes me nervous as a contender, right? Other teams like the Celtics, the Bucks are different because they have Giannis, or Nuggets. They can solve that ability, right? I'm not sure if you've seen OKC done that before, and they're lacking the experience for that.
So let's go back to the Timberwolves, right? So where would you... Okay, so let's say, we have tier 1 contenders, tier 2, tier 3. Tier 1, we have the same 3. Where would you put the Minnesota Timberwolves?
Why would you do this to me? I think they're tier 2.
Okay.
How about this? Tier 1A is those 3, our 3. Tier 1B, I would say, is the Wolves. It's the Wolves and the Bucks.
Okay, so 1 or 1B meaning they can win the finals or they can make it to the finals.
I think they can make it to the finals, but to me, like I said, the solving the problem making, right? Don't even get me started on the Bucks perimeter defense. Their point of attack defense is scary bad.
They have the number 1 defense, right?
No.
The Wolves?
The Wolves, I believe they do.
Yeah.
And the Celtics are second. But throughout the season, the Wolves have had a top 5, top 3 defensive rating, right? First in blocks. But like I said earlier, their issue that I get nervous about, the offense can look funky a little bit at times, especially in the clutch, which can be nervous. And they don't have that 1A guy. Anthony Edwards isn't at that right now, like a Jason Tatum is right now.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah, I don't know. Like the Timberwolves pretty much have the same roster they did last season, right? Aside from maybe like 1 or 2 guys.
I mean, they have the same roster, but they weren't healthy last year. Now they have a Naz Reid and the Jaden McDaniels back.
But I say that to say,
and Monte
didn't
Morris.
they get swept by the Nuggets in the first round last year?
They lost 4-1.
Oh, so they got 4-1, right, against the Nuggets,
Yeah,
who ended up winning the championship.
that's true.
What's going to change this year? Like, why? Like, that's why I just think they're pretenders because, sure, they're the 1 seed, but let's see them win in the playoffs. They didn't do it last year. They won 1 freaking game in the playoffs, You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I know what you mean, but like just to kind of rephrase that, we're gonna see it, right? I can't wait. Like, if the Nuggets face them and they win 4-1 again, hallelujah, thank God,
Yeah.
right? But I just know that at their core, when they're fully healthy, right, no team is gonna want to kind of go up against their defense, right? And they did lose to the eventual champions, right? But I guess I'm just putting a lot of stock in their defense. Anthony Edwards' ability just to lock up on defense and be the number 1 option. And then third of all, just taking the word out of the horse's mouth. The fact that Nuggets players have extensively said the Wolves were our best matchup. They were the toughest matchup to play against.
Yeah, those were tough games. All 5 of those games were close games. I think 1 was just a blowout, but all the other ones came down to like the stretch, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was like games decided between like 8 or less, right?
Yeah. Okay.
The first game was a blowout, I believe.
Yeah.
But I would put them. But our contenders, our top 3 contenders.
Hold on, let's do this. So let's do 1A, 1B.
Okay.
First 3 we have Clippers, Nuggets, Celtics.
Easy.
1B. You give yours.
I think it's just in order: Bucks, Timberwolves, Thunder.
Okay. I'm gonna go Bucks, Suns.
Oh, I forgot about the Suns. That's a whole question. Oh my God.
No, but it's fine. But you don't have to put them in order. Just 1B.
That's true.
Is because I don't think the Timberwolves are 1B. I mean, sure they have the best defense, but I'm gonna go Suns, Thunder, Bucks if the Bucks get together. So
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I'm putting a lot of stock in these next 25 games. A lot of the season is going to be about matchups, right? This is probably going to be the best season in the last 2 weeks, last week, because we're going to be like, oh my God, if the Nuggets face the Timberwolves in the second round, I'm cooked. Or if it's like, the Knicks, they look like they're going to get the Bulls in the play-in. That's not going to happen. But a lot of that's going to be decided into seeding. So when we see that, then the possibilities are just going to be kind of crazy to see what team is going to really show up and what team, like a Timberwolves that are unproven or a OKC who are definitely unproven, see rise to like the occasion.
No, for sure. The next, not the next 2 weeks, but the next 24 games are definitely going to be crazy, especially when it comes down to seeding. And we might have to have you back on to talk about, that week before who's going to get certain matchups or what playoff matchups you like and stuff like that. But
hopefully.
But yeah, thank you for coming on. I enjoyed the talk.
Yeah.
I think it definitely, got better as we went on. We started to get that, chemistry and everything. So I think we did good. Did you enjoy it? You like it?
It was a good time. No, I'm glad I had notes. I could have kept talking for like 6 hours.
Oh yeah, for sure. We could sit here for hours, but
Fully.
Those are the only topics we had for you guys today. If you guys did watch to the end, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you all enjoyed. Let us know in the comments below, what other topics you want us to talk about, or just your thoughts on what we thought. So yeah, hopefully you all enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, I will see you all next video. Peace. All right. Good stuff.
Let's go work out.
What up, Donnie?
Dinny. Oh, I'm sorry.